Hello and many blessings to you out there. So I'm coming to you today to really touch into the definition of anxiety. So if you've been wondering how to define anxiety or what anxiety really is, this is the place to be today. So I'm going to start with the definition that you can find anywhere on your Apple computer or in Google. But this is just a starting point, because this is not the finish line of what anxiety is or the definition. So let me read this first for you. So they call it in psychiatry a nervous disorder characterized by a state of excessive nervousness, excessive uneasiness, typically compulsive behavior or a panic attack accompanies it. So this is how you define anxiety, but what is the deeper root of anxiety, or what really is happening? Where did anxiety come from? What is anxiety? So if you tie into where does anxiety come from, a lot of people will say, when I'm feeling anxious, or I just know that I'm feeling it and I don't like it and I want to get rid of it. But where did it come from? So often there's a trigger, and oftentimes there's not. It doesn't seem like there is actually a trigger. So where is it coming from? So if you touch in, there's a fear of something that's going to happen. There's a fear of an uneasiness. Something may happen, may not happen, but I'm afraid it's going to happen. And it can be a repetitive pattern of I'm afraid that I'm just not okay. I'm afraid I'm going to be judged. I'm afraid I'm going to be abandoned. I'm afraid I'm going to be ostracized. Whatever that fear is, it's deep in there. But that's not the origination of it. It's not the fear of what's going to happen to you. It's actually the suppression of all of the emotions and the fears from your past. So think about what's happened to you in your life, the emotions that came with it, the traumas that happened, where there seemed to be something not working for you. There seemed to be something that didn't go well, and it wasn't okay. There was a belief or an experience it wasn't okay to express it, either to your loved ones or to even just express it out. So in that fear, we suppressed it. So we let it drop down into our subconscious, and we just did whatever we could to get rid of it. And in that getting rid of it, we didn't actually get rid of it. We just got rid of the feeling of it for the moment, or the symptoms of it. But what's happening with anxiety, it's coming back to the surface, and then we're recycling that fear again and again and again with any trigger, which could be anything from the feeling that coffee brings you, which will trigger that same feeling that you felt in that moment of fear in the past, but now it's become a repetitive compulsive pattern of anxiousness. And or something happens, or something may happen, our mind's fixating on something that may happen. So for instance, in my own life, I was told by my handyman about my house up in Portland, the roof is a mess, and we almost fell through. It needs to be fixed. And immediately I'm jumping to the reality of a roof cost between $20,000 to $30,000, maybe more. Every situation I've heard about fixing a roof, it starts at 20 grand and goes up. So I wasn't going to hear from him I haven't heard from him for about 2 weeks. And I had the choice to fixate and freak out about how much this is going to cost. How am I going to put all this together? What am I going to do about this? Or I could go, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I'm going to surrender it to consciousness, to God, turn it over. Whatever's in the highest good, I'm going to turn it over. However it's to unfold, I'm going to choose to address it in the best way possible. And I have no idea what that's going to look like or how that's going to be. So in the meantime, I'm just going to continue to live my life. And when it comes, when it happens, when I find out how much it's going to cost, then I'll face that then. So the bill came back today. And if I was in anxiousness, I would have been terrified to open that bill. If I was still feeding that pattern of the trauma from the past of losing all my money, feeding into that, how am I going to survive, etc., then this would have been terrifying today, but it also would have been such a relief. But I was okay because I wasn't feeding that. And then I opened the bill. The quote's $3,600. Far from the $20,000 to $30,000 that was expected or was possible. So anxiety is when we start to address the suppression from the past, all the emotions from the past, it opens the door for anything that's happening now, any future moment that may come. We're not worried about that. We're going to trust in what's here now. So the definition of anxiety, yeah, it's something that's happened that's a compulsion, but it's only a compulsion because we haven't addressed what's keeping it cycling through. So this is a video for you to invite you to address those deeper pieces. Not just face the compulsion and try to avoid it through more TV, through alcohol, through drugs, through smoking, or whatever other thing outside is going to help you feel better. Use those things like an anxiety blanket or lavender and all these other things I'll go into at another time, just to help subside, but not suppress. We want to release, open, and express so we can be free. So I'm here to hold for you, support you in living your best life, and that is free of anxiety. So that first or next step, or the big step, is addressing those emotions, those suppressions from the past, so they don't keep carrying into the future, into every belief system of how everything's going to go wrong. I love you, I support you, and I know you can do this.